and a love so deep that they didn't even know how to exist quietly. They were that couple, the one everyone looked at, wished for, and even smiled at without even knowing why. He would walk into the room and she would know. Not because he was loud or because he announced himself, but because his presence had something that changed the air when he was near. They completed each other's sentences. They laughed at each other's jokes, and they even had a special language. But one day, he said he had to go for a business trip. She didn't want to hear it. She didn't even want to understand it. But then he looked at her with those eyes that always said the truth and said, I have to, but I'll never leave you alone. And so he went, and she waited. The way you wait for someone you love, counting the hours, keeping yourself busy, days passed, weeks passed. But then one day, some people came to her door, and the way they looked at her, before they even broke the news, she already knew. He was gone. Her husband, really, not missing, not delayed, he was gone. And then her whole world shattered. And she tried to investigate who killed him, only for her to find out that they had taken him away. The same people that he spent his whole life loving. The same people that he gave everything he had to. The same people that would have even died for. Well, it turned out he eventually died for them. And so the story doesn't end here, but I need to stop here. Because I want you to feel something. I want you to put yourself in that woman's shoes for just a moment. I want you to feel the disbelief, the silence of a house that's one adding in it, and the weight of love that had nowhere else to go anymore. But guess what? Okay, I'm so sorry, everyone. I have a confession to make. Do you know that woman? Do you know her name? Her name is you. Hi, and every one of us here. And that husband, his name is Jesus. Somebody say Jesus. Yes. He was that close. The way a husband is close to a wife, it was not just a distant God seated on a throne too holy to be touched. He walked. He laughed with us. He sat at the table to eat. He cried at funerals. He was so present that even 12 men had to leave everything they had just to be near him. But then one day, he said he had to go. I have to, but I'll never leave you alone. And so he went. Now let me tell you about a Friday. This is not just the Friday that you count down to the weekend. I mean a good Friday. Okay, I call it good because on that day, the sky forgot how to be blue. The heavens seemed so silent. And the earth held its breath as if hope itself had been lost. A man was hung on a cross. But mind you, he was not just a man. He was a savior. But in that moment, no one called him that. They called him a blasphemer. They called him a rebel. They called him a criminal. They took the one who healed blind eyes and placed stones upon his head like a crown was something to be mocked. They stripped him naked. They pierced him. They mocked him. They flogged him 39 lashes. Not 38, not 40, but 39 lashes. So he could save our lashes. Each one deliberates for you. And the same people that once shouted, Hosanna, Hosanna, were the same ones that screamed, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. But I can't guarantee when pay me so. Him be God now, him for run. But him no run. If he just talk one word, 10,000 angels go down further and save him. But him stay gallant. Why? Because we're worth staying for. And then he hung there on the cross. Between two criminals, above a mocking crowd, beneath a darkening sky, through cracked lips and through a fainted heart, he said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. He said, forgive them, not destroy them, not curse them, but forgive them. And he meant you. Yes, you, that version of you that's running away from God and saying, I'll come back later. He meant you. And then darkness covered the whole land. And he cried with a loud voice, It is finished. And he bowed his head in humility, and he died. There comes a Saturday. Saturday was the most quietest day in history. His mother wept, his disciples hid, and the whole world seemed so silent. And I know so many of you are living in that Saturday that something died. Maybe a hope, a dream, a relationship, or anything at all. And sometimes the silence feels so loud that sometimes you even ask yourself that, does God even hear me? Well, I want you to stay in this room with me. Because Sunday is coming, early in the morning. Before the city woke up, before the cocks crowed, a group of men walked to the tomb with spices in their hands and grief in their chests. They wanted to say a final goodbye. They expected death, but the stone was gone. And then an angel as bright as the morning star appeared and said, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead? He is not here, he has risen." Death looked for him but came up empty. The grave checked his record but found nothing. Held through a party but the guest of honor walked out. He didn't just escape, be conquered. He didn't just survive, he swallowed death whole and came out the other side alive. And I need to talk to somebody here today. Someone that has been told that they are too far gone. Someone that is carrying shame like a second skin. Someone that has made so many mistakes so many times and thinks that hope is impossible. I want you to remember that he said, I have to, but I'll never leave you alone. Yes, he came back for her, and he's still coming back for you. Because the same power that rolled the stone away is still available for you today, tomorrow, and even forevermore. I want you all to know that the resurrection is not just a history lesson. It's not just a day for you to wear nice clothes on Sunday. It's not just a day for you to eat rice, but to evangelize. Evangelize and share the rice. It is a declaration that nothing God touches stay dead. Not your family, not your joy, not your finances, not your marriage, not even your joy. Because He lives, and so you can face tomorrow. I want, dear brothers and sisters, I want you all to come. I want you to come to the one who loved the people that killed him. I want you to come to the one who prayed for them while he was bleeding. I want you to come to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Ancient of Days, the I am that I am, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Agun the Chamber, the Lion that guards the universe, the Oluyomi, the I am that I am, the one who was, who is, and is to come. Because He didn't stay dead, and neither do you. Happy Easter, everyone. Thank you.